In this video, we're going to talk about how just-in-time inventory management improves businesses. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't believe any of the negativity around just-in-time. I want you to love it, and you're going to love it after this video because it's a jam and it will change everything for you and your construction project and your business. And the reason is because most people don't understand it, but once you do, and you will now, you'll really be able to leverage the benefits. So I'm excited for you about this. In this video, we're going to talk about what just-in-time material delivery or inventory really means, how to specifically implement that concept in construction, the key things that you should never do, meaning don't do this because then it's not just-in-time material delivery and you're going to end up with problems, what two things you always have to really make it work for you, and I'm going to debunk the myths behind just-in-time inventory management. All right, so let's get started. Really, just in time, it doesn't just mean inventory management. It doesn't just mean that you bring materials out just in time to a construction project. It really means that you do things on a flow. So if you think about construction, you go from zone to zone to zone to zone. It means that we have the labor coming to the project site from zone to zone to zone just in time. So just in time, just in time, just in time, just in time. The information is arriving for those zones, just in time, just in time, just in time, just in time. And more specifically, what we're talking about now is material inventory. It comes to those zones exactly when it's needed, just in time, just in time, just in time, from zone 1 to zone 2 to zone 3 to zone 4. So it's really a symbol or a description of flow, good project flow. Do things on a flow just in time per that flow. So the term has a broader meaning. And in most lean circles and in manufacturing, it really means that you produce a product when the customer asks for it, meaning on a flow. And when you have mass production, like we do in car manufacturing plants, it means that the rate of production is flowing just in time according to that customer need, and in some cases those projections, those market projections. But for us, it really means that you have an alignment of resources to the project schedule, yes, you guessed it, just in time. So just in time really means flow without waste. And so let me just talk about a couple key concepts. If you have a project, so let me just go ahead and draw a simple building, just a little isometric here, nothing fancy, and you have a master schedule, a tact plan that has given you a rhythm for the construction of that project, you're set to implement just in time. In my opinion, can I share my opinion? You said yes, so I'm going to share it. The only way you can really schedule materials and inventory just in time is if you have a tact plan that's broken out by zones, that's on a tact time, because now you know what material you need when. So really only a tact schedule can enable this kind of system, just-in-time material deliveries, because construction is so resource dependent. So we have the schedule and we have the building. Just-in-time material deliveries means that it is scheduled according to that rhythmic schedule and that it comes from the supplier. So I'll just go ahead and write down the supplier here, that it comes from the supplier just in time to the project site. Now, this is where people get this wrong most of the time. They think it always has to come from the vendor directly to the place of work, like hours or days before. That is categorically not true. As a part of this system, you also have laydowns. And in lean construction, they use this too. They have supermarkets. They have areas where they store materials. They have Kanban systems. And so if you have, like, let's say drywall, and you can get that real time, or you can order from the supply shop screws or small pieces of material with simple deliveries, like just in time, hours or days beforehand, you can bring those materials from the supplier all the way to the building, to the place of work. Totally fine, totally fine. But if you can't, and you'll remember that if you have an activity, you need a buffer and you need to account for that supply chain. That means that you have a buffer, a material inventory buffer of materials that you want a certain amount of time before that activity starts. That means that you will order the materials from the supplier and you will stage them at the laydown yard and only bring the materials to the place of work just in time. The main two concepts here that I want to explain is that if you have a zone inside your building, right, you don't want to stage that zone before work is ready to go in. And you especially don't want to order all of your materials and stage it throughout the whole building and put it in people's way. If you're ordering duct for 40,000 square foot floors, 4 stories, we don't want all that fire sprinkler pipe or all that duct or all that drywall staged. That's not just in time. Just in time means that we've ordered it to be at the place of work just as it's needed according to that zone, according to that tack time, or according to that duration. And so your laydowns are, it's totally appropriate to use these. The reason people don't like to is because you have a supply chain from here to here. And so this would be, manufacture the part, step 1. It would be load the part, step 2. It would be transport the part, step 3. It would be, and you go through these steps until it gets to the project site. What people don't like is that if you have to offload it, that's step number 4. If you have to stage it, that's step number 5. If you have to reload it, that's stage number 6. And then you have to transport it again, stage number 7, and then offload it to the place of work, stage number 8, right? So these 4 are technically waste. But the amount of money and time we spend doing these using a laydown might be cheaper than just staging it and putting it in everybody's way. So just-in-time deliveries at its root means just in time at the place of work when it's ready to be built at the most efficient supply chain, or what they call value stream. Meaning we only want to, whenever we can, do the steps that add value to the process. Sometimes you'll need to do the laydown, which adds these, but that's only when it's more effective or less expensive than staging too much on the building. So this is a good point right now when explaining this concept. If you have questions about this, and as long as you're polite, any responses, additional information, or maybe even if you disagree, again, we're going to be polite and nice to each other, but if you want to comment, please give me the information, because this is such an important concept. We cannot, let me give you one example. Sometimes people ask, well, if you're doing just-in-time deliveries, what about the door frame contractor that needs to bring it all out at once? What about the duct supplier that wants to load the whole floor? The answer is we must have this tack plan in pre-construction and really break that project up by zones and buy it out so that the deliveries come to the laydown or the place of work by zone and not according to the whole floor or the whole building all at once, so that we can bring those materials out zone by zone just in time. That's an example of an answer we can give if you comment and like below. So please be commenting and liking those videos for us. We love you and we appreciate you. And so I want to leave you with one last really important concept. And that is, again, that every project should have either the material inventory on a schedule or on a procurement log. Either way you do it, you have to have a material inventory buffer. Meaning that if you need a piece of material or an elevator or a tile or a curtain wall for this activity here, you must properly identify the material inventory buffer duration and quantity, meaning how much of that material do you want, how far ahead of time. So if you're talking about drywall, 1 or 2 days. If you're talking about tile, maybe it's 3 weeks. If you're talking about curtain wall, it might be 6 to 9 weeks. If you're talking about electrical switchgear, it's going to be 17 years. I'm just kidding, but you need to know what that buffer duration needs to be. And if you have to use the laydowns, go ahead, because it's more important to have the materials than to not stock them in a laydown. So really Huge concept here. And so in summary, we've gone over the two things that you really have to have. You must have a schedule and you must have a procurement log. Those are the two things you always have to have. The things you should never do, I promised I would tell you that. You should never plan a schedule and align material inventory orders to an unrealistic schedule that doesn't have trade flow. You should never assume that all of your materials are going to come directly from the vendor to the building itself. That's a recipe for disaster. You should not discount the merits of using a laydown. You can never order materials without this material inventory buffer. The other thing you can never do is just order your materials batched to supply and stock the whole building. It must come out zone by zone. So if you follow those general guidelines, you're going to be great. This is going to be an awesome time because you're going to have the materials when you need them because you have the buffer and because you've managed it properly zone by zone. And so don't believe the myths that just-in-time doesn't work. Don't believe the myths that it has to come from the vendor directly to the building. There's more to it than meets the eye. But remember this, it means that if you have work, you're bringing that out just in time according to a flow, zone by zone. If you remember that, you're gonna be great. If you have any questions, again, use that comment feature on the YouTube channel. I wanna hear from you. We'll get you the information. The other thing that we've done here is we've custom made a blog post just for this so that you can go share this with your team, talk about it with your owner. You can do your own class, you can do your internal company training. We have great content in there and great visuals and great videos for you to go implement this. You've got to check it out in the description below. You're gonna love it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's time for us in construction to really wrap our minds around just-in-time deliveries and to not believe the myths. The supply chain shortages in 2020 because of COVID-19, the impacts of that could not have been prevented if we had a bunch of excess inventory. That inventory would have been gone in days. The problem happened because of panic and because of the overall market system that we're a part of. If you want to really make money in that market system, you will implement just-in-time deliveries and just-in-time inventory control. I hope you've enjoyed this. On we go.